I think we can all agree that eating at a restaurant has become like ridiculously priced.
So we just went to James on a Friday night and there was like no one there. And the food, Can anyone else like not eat at chain sit-down restaurants anymore?
We are experiencing a complete decline in chain sit-down restaurants like TGI Fridays, Outback, Red Lobster.
A job at Denny's, and it's literally not a singular customer, and we are empty.
So yesterday I was looking through TikTok and I saw this video of this guy playing in a restaurant by himself, and I was like, you know what? There seems to be a trend to this. So I started looking at how many news articles were coming out about restaurants going under, restaurants having problems, especially in the state of California. I said, you know what? We got to check into this, and there's so many videos that we got to watch. Let's see what's going on.
I think we can all agree that eating at a restaurant has become like ridiculously priced in the past few years. We cook at home most of the times, but like, we like to go out like once or twice a week. And I honestly feel like me and my husband, cannot go out to lunch or dinner without spending $50+ and we don't even drink. A couple months ago now, like me and my husband kind of just looked at each other after going to like, and moderately priced restaurant and being like, that like was not worth it. And we kind of just decided then and there that we were either going to go like the fast casual chain restaurant route or go to a really nice restaurant where we knew that we were going to get a great meal and it'd be worth what we were paying for. This has kind of helped with that balance of like, sometimes we don't want to cook. Sometimes we want like a great experience. But like we weren't getting that like value out of going to the mediocre restaurant and it being like worth our money.
This is so me and Samantha were just having this conversation. It's if you go out for fast food, it's terrible for you. It's still expensive. You go to a nice restaurant, you're going to spend $200 or $300. We went this weekend and one of our dinners for the three of us was like $300. And all we did was get the normal food and, some dessert, have a good night. And I was shocked at how much it cost after a tip. Now we're looking at 30% tip on anything, and it's just getting more and more expensive to where the point is some people are just not doing it anymore.
A job at Denny's, and it's literally not a singular customer, and we are empty. It's 3 employees, and we live in California too. So in California, we get paid $19 an hour minimum. So there's 2 servers, $19 an hour. One of them, he's been here longer than me, so I'm assuming that his pay is somewhere in the realm of like $23 an hour. And then we got a cook, probably makes about $25 to $30 an hour. So just in labor costs alone, they losing almost damn near like $80 an hour.
Not to mention, in California, did a video on this, you're looking at surcharges in some areas for the cost of living difference. So tack on another 20%, and then most people will tip on top of that because they don't realize the surcharge. We're seeing the downfall of the middle class where they're being priced out of going to restaurants, and pretty soon the middle class restaurant is going to be gone to where it's just going to be the high-end expensive or food desert. And if you haven't ever looked into food deserts, that's pretty scary, where the only thing you can get is convenience store food. It's terrible for you. It's bad for you. It's expensive. What's going to happen next? Look at the attack on Cracker Barrel that's going on.
Restaurant chain Cracker Barrel is cutting ties with the San Francisco design firm behind its controversial rebrand. The restaurant chain hired Profit just 7 months ago. In August, it unveiled its new logo, streamlining the design by ditching the iconic man in the overalls and the barrel. The new logo drew massive backlash online. Cracker Barrel has sent...
Yeah, that didn't go over too big. I know a lot of people grew up with Cracker Barrel, and they didn't want to see it change. They just want to know where they can go, get some wholehearted food on the side of the interstate. They know it's going to be kind of clean and kind of safe. And don't change that. And then they tried to throw the whole racism thing in there because of the name of it. What do y'all think about that? I want to know what you think. Comment down below. I think it totally missed the mark. People just, it's always been Cracker Barrel, and they like the way it was. And I like looking at the old shotgun on the mantelpiece because it was just like I felt like I was in a country cabin, and the fireplace.
Can anyone else like not eat at chain sit-down restaurants anymore? Like Olive Garden or Chili's. Like I used to love them. I worked at Chili's, love the food, but lately it's like really freaking me out. Like every time I eat it, it doesn't feel like real food. Like it feels like it was made in a lab.
Fact.
Which it probably was in some like really nice test kitchen and everything, but like I know it's like prepackaged and comes in frozen, blah blah blah, but I could get past that before, and now it's just different. It feels like I don't know, like dystopian slop.
It literally is. And we're going to see in this video where you can see their trash bins. They just literally go and buy it at the Costco, a conglomerate like Costco, but for chain restaurants. And they just throw it in the skillet, warm it up, and they hand it to you. It's like literally getting like bag food just served on a platter for $100, you know. And I know some food vendors, some people that supply the food for these restaurants, and that's what they're getting. You're buying the stuff pre-cooked, and they're throwing it on a plate for you and charging you double for it, plus 30% tip for the waitress. And I love waitresses. Don't think that just because I say tip all the time that I'm against them. No, they have their worth. But when food costs are so expensive, that extra 30% is keeping people from going in and buying food. So one day the waitress is going to disappear because all the restaurant is doing is passing on that payroll, that cost of the employee onto the consumer instead of paying them a wage that they deserve at the restaurant, because the margins are so thin on restaurants that if they did, most of these restaurants would go under. They would go out of business.
In restaurants, you're paying over $20 for microwaved frozen food, and people are wondering why no one wants to eat out anymore. This isn't just some crazy theory. This is actually true. Restaurants openly admit to this. The system is absolutely collapsing on itself. People can't afford it. Customers aren't going out anymore. These places are sitting empty on Friday, Saturday nights. I could go to Central Avenue on a Friday night and film an empty restaurant for you guys if you don't believe me. It is happening over and over and over again every weekend at this point. As a live musician in this city, I can see it firsthand because the gigs are the first thing to go. If there's no one in the restaurant, they're not going to pay for live music. And this loss of restaurants in America is going to be studied. This is bad. We're not just losing businesses. We're losing culture. We're losing third spaces. We're losing live music. Places where people gather, where they laugh, where they share stories, enjoy food together. That is all becoming a thing of the past. And even the small businesses that aren't giving you frozen food, these places are struggling just as much. They're sitting just as empty as the big chains are. And once these small businesses and mom and
here's a good comment right here that TikTok I had before this was literally just saying restaurants nowadays are just competing over who can present Costco, Cisco food on the best plate. You know, it's becoming comical when you're seeing the same food and you know that it's not fresh. Frozen nuked food, $100 a plate. Yes, and that's what I was talking about before. 3-4 people, $300 plus tip, and you got a beer with your dinner. You know, it's wild. What do you think? Comments down below.
Applebee's and IHOP are losing money. They are amongst the latest restaurant chains to announce that customers are walking away from higher priced items and not spending as much time in their restaurants. Remember that Applebee's and IHOP were part of the group of restaurants that raised their prices over the last few years, and they are seeing customers pull back as a result. In fact, Applebee's says that the amount of customers that are only coming in to take advantage of promotions has significantly increased over the past year. Of course, it's little wonder that customers are getting very savvy and are only focused on deals when the price of food has skyrocketed so much, especially eating out and amongst even fast food restaurants. Applebee's and IHOP say that they hope to turn things around for themselves by focusing on innovative new menu products. So what, can customers expect more of those watered down Dollaritas? Either way, given current economic conditions, I highly doubt there's going to be much that either restaurant can do to coax customers into spending much more on higher priced items. It just simply isn't the time for that.
A lot of the restaurant owners and chefs in Miami this summer have been talking about just how slow everything has been. And of course, it's not everywhere, but the Miami Herald talked to a bunch of people who live in Miami and asked them why they're not eating out. And for the most part, people said prices are just too high and they are trying to cut back right now. They say the main reason cited by diners who responded is the fact that prices are too high and that too many new restaurants aren't paying attention to the needs of local diners.
One of the local restaurants here in Pensacola, Joe Patty's restaurant, closed. They just, I guess, couldn't make it anymore. The building they had, the city literally destroyed the road in front of their restaurant, and it was like this terrible turnaround. They had no parking, and FDOT was taking their time putting the road back together. And you know what? They just said, can't do it anymore. And we're seeing this over and over again. And, you know, we used to have a culture of going out for lunch, meeting people at lunch, talking, networking, businesses, people doing lunch. Now it's becoming not a thing. Like, most of my friends are like, you know what? I just run to the nearest fast food, go back to the office, or eat at home, take my lunch. And I think COVID changed a lot of the way we do our stuff now. And people are like, you know what? It's just too expensive. You know, that $5 lunch menu is now $20. It's hard to believe we're saying that now. I mean, food quality and service is bad. It seems like across the board. And you're paying through the nose for it. But it's like you used to would give a tip to ensure prompt service, to ensure I get good stuff. Now it's demanded. Like I got a Starbucks the other day and they handed me the tip thing. And I was like, you handed me a coffee that used to be part of the drive-thru. Now you want a 20% tip on handing me the coffee? How much is the coffee? Aren't you paying them already? Like, what are we doing here? Comments down below, good, bad, ugly. And right here, I miss the old Pizza Hut. I mean, we saw a video of Pizza Hut being empty, completely empty. And that used to be a booming place. I remember when you could get that basketball, you know, you could get stuff at Pizza Hut, a deep dish pizza after baseball games. Like, that was the life, man. And it's like, can't afford to eat out. Yeah, that's true. Nobody wants to pay $30 for a pizza plus tip.
Someone who used to really value going out to dinner, and I would actually budget a lot of money every single month for going out to restaurants. That was a big part of my social life and how I got together with a lot of my girlfriends. And now I would say that I've eaten out at restaurants maybe 5 times in the last 6 to 8 months, literally since the summer. A few months ago, I went out to dinner with one of my friends. This was early December, and we got pizza and wine and salad. And so we're sitting at this restaurant at this little teeny tiny table sandwiched between 2 other groups of people. So we have barely any space. The table is not even big enough to fit everything that we ordered. We got a glass of wine each. We got 2 individual sized pizzas. And mind you, neither of us eat meat. I ordered the vegan pizza, which didn't have any cheese. It was literally just a pizza with eggplant and sauce. And she ordered just a white pizza, no meat. So 2 of the least expensive pizzas on the menu. And we split a kale salad. And we each paid $80. The waiter came over with the bill and I was like, what did we order? And the food was good. But $80 for pizza, wine, and salad is ridiculous.
So we just went to James on a Friday night, and there was no one there. And the food, not what it used to be. So where's everyone going in Summerlin, Las Vegas? Where is everyone partying? Where is everyone drinking? Where is everyone eating? Because that used to be the spot, and it's not.
Do you think this is because they don't want to pay the tip? They can afford the food, but the extra 20-30% they can't do. Or they just don't want to deal with it. I know I got sushi the other day, and they charged me a 10% to-go tip. I didn't know that was a thing until I saw it. What do you think about that?
We are experiencing a complete decline in chain sit-down restaurants like TGI Fridays, Outback, Red Lobster. All of those are losing tons of money, closing lots of different locations, and it's not just about food. I want to explain how this trend reveals something really profound about how our relationship with community is changing and likely getting worse. Casual dining chains, places where middle-class families could walk in without a reservation and have a meal at a relatively affordable price, have been in a steady decline throughout the 21st century. Last year alone, I think TGI Fridays and Red Lobster filed for bankruptcy. And this isn't necessarily just about Americans spending less money at restaurants. We're actually still spending the same amount as ever, studies have shown. But we're seeing trends where people are buying food made by restaurants and eating it elsewhere. So the rise of these specific kind of to-go chains like Sweetgreen, Kava, through delivery apps, through drive-thrus, takeout services, those have become ingrained habits, and those have risen at the sacrifice of these other chain sit-down restaurants. And these restaurants have traditionally provided a third space for a lot of communities. These social environments kind of separate from your home or your work, where communities can form, social capital develops. Maybe you're meeting people at these places. Maybe you're just having more.
It's not going to get any better. The prices are not coming back down. The cost of goods is the cost of goods. And they're not going to increase supply in the market to make the cost of stuff to come down. They're just going to keep creeping up because that tax man for the building that the restaurant's in is going to want more. The insurance man is going to want more. The legal is going to want more. Everything is going to become more expensive. The payroll tax, the health inspector is going to want new parameters to the point where things are going to keep going up. And at some point, people are just not going to pay $30 for lunch. It's just not going to happen.
Price actually the problem why people are going out less? I think at the end of this video, I'm going to surprise you. So we see this article from December 22nd of 2023. It talks about how, as you can read the headline, is it price or is it something else why people are dining out less? So now this first part would show you, it says that there, to be clear, there hasn't been an exodus from restaurants exactly, but the anticipated rebound of the pandemic has been slowing. But you see things like this. Like, so at the end of this, late night Taco Bell runs were way up. The fast casual has gone up. We still left our homes in search of convenient food, fast food joints, all that type.
You're going to see them rebrand, re-innovate, re-menu, and then they're just going to cycle the bodies of the restaurants. They're going to name them something different, pops right back up. Bankruptcy, they do it again, pops back up. The margins are the margins. And if they can't get food cheaper and they can't get you to pay more, and their margins are getting squeezed, there's no way they can survive. The worst business on the planet to start is a restaurant. But everybody and all these corporations keep starting more restaurants. I don't understand why. Because they always fail. They have such, I think, like 80% failure rate. It's really hard to start a restaurant. If you're an entrepreneur, don't start a restaurant. Like, unless you can figure out how to fry things cheaper, I just don't get it. And if these large corporations can't do it, I mean, we already saw Red Lobster, I think, filed bankruptcy. It's down the rabbit hole of this stuff.
So we're seeing, and this would lead you to believe that maybe price is the problem because these are oftentimes the cheaper option. But not so fast, my friend. As you would see here, when it comes to the more expensive locations, it seems as though they're either doing all or nothing. Customers are doing all or nothing. They're either going to Carbone or these really high-end viral places that are doing great, or they're not going out at all. It's no longer in between where they'll go out for the nice place, but nothing crazy. It's just different. And this is what we've seen in 2023.
So I'm walking home, right? And I see all of these bags of chicken meatballs. I'm like, why on earth would a restaurant, where would these be coming from? You know what? Cater to You Kitchen. You pay for catering and you get chicken meatballs from a box.
This is the Costco of restaurants, and just like Costco, you have to be a member to shop here, and to be a member, you have to work for a restaurant. This is where restaurants can get items in bulk, from disposable cutlery to tubs of mayo and soy sauce, and even Willy Wonka-sized restaurants can get items in bulk, from disposable cutlery to tubs of mayo and soy sauce, and even Willy Wonka-sized chocolate bars. But here's a dirty little secret. A lot of restaurants will get frozen, pre-made dishes here. Heat them up to the restaurant, serve it to the customer, charge $10. Most popular offenders are the labor-intensive dishes like empanadas, dumplings, spring rolls, raviolis, pastries, and especially desserts. It is.
I know my dad, he grew up during the 50s, 60s, and he always ate out. He would always eat out. And it was where he went for entertainment, to talk to people, to be around things like a tavern. Like he could, see his friends from around town because that's what they did. And he went out and ate every day. But now, like, my generation's like, I don't want to go anywhere. No, thank you. And I think it's almost like they're tired of society, or during COVID, we were recultured to stay within our little core. And I know me, I would much rather stay at home, cook some seafood I got from the market on the way home, drink my own wine, never leave the house, watch my big screen TV, and refuse to go to the movies. Are y'all the same way? I know for me, I'll take my lunch all week to go to a nice restaurant on like Saturday night. And like I could probably eat out for everything financially, but I just choose to take my own lunch during the week. I can get an extra work hour, I don't have to leave for an hour. I don't have to go and come, really an hour and a half. And then on like Friday night or Saturday night, if I want to go out to dinner, or if I want to go to the seafood market and buy the nines and just spend my money that way. Instead of, $20, I'll go spend $150 on a Saturday night. Sometimes I'll do that, with me and my wife or whatever. But I'm not spending $20 at Taco Bell. I refuse to. refuse. That's what I'm talking about right here. This is how they get your food. And you will see it at these giant Costco equivalents for restaurants. You can literally open a catalog and order this type of food for your restaurant. And I've caught many people at Sam's from restaurants like, you know, your local mom and pop restaurant buying this stuff with their humongous buggies, and they're just going to go and cook it in their restaurant and serve it to you. And it's speed, and they're able to just mark up the product a little bit, shave off some margins of 5, 6, 10%, throw in some tip, maybe a couple extra items with alcohol, and they're making a profit. And some of them are net losses just to get you into the restaurant. Yes, desserts, 100%. Because think about how many people actually buy a dessert. Very few. And then they're time consuming to make, especially like a blueberry cobbler or a key lime pie. Like when I went down to the Keys, you could buy key lime pies everywhere, frozen, and you're just going to bring them back. And you just serve the best. Why try to make it and recreate the wheel when you can just buy it frozen and serve it? And that's what you're getting with tiramisu and all these things where you're getting small orders. You'll never know the difference. And they're banking on it.
It's rare for a restaurant to have a dedicated pastry chef. So many times the chocolate pudding or the tiramisu or the tres leches cake you're ordering is just thawed out Restaurant Depot food. So what do you think? Is this cheating or is this smart business?
I mean, right here we see Buffalo Wild Wings or any type of those chains, conglomerates like that. You're seeing like, they're just heating this stuff up. I remember you could go to Hooters and I knew the fry cook and he would like fry it, right? And it seems like now you can taste the frozen freezer bite off of some of this stuff, especially French fries. Or they're getting pre-made potato shavings and then they're frying them and they're reusing the batter. And you see this in seafood restaurants doing the same thing with the fried batter. You can taste the reused, taste to it, especially seasoning. Even when I went to the seafood market the other day where you used to get them to steam it for free, there's a $3 charge on that now, $3.50 charge. Everything is just edging up and the pot is getting hotter and hotter on us, and we better be paying attention or we're going to get left behind. We're going to be financially priced out. Politicians did this to us when they printed so much money. Watch my other videos on that. At the beginning of this video, I showed you how many articles are popping up about where are people eating. People are not going out to eat. Restaurants are starting to see bankruptcy at the end of the tunnel. Where are people going? Are they just staying home? Because they got to eat. And we know going out is so much more expensive. So where are they going? If you're in this situation, comment down below. Let's all learn from each other. What's going on? The way to stay ahead of the financial game is figure out where the ball's going to go.
LA follows Las Vegas footsteps as visitors to city plummet 50%. No one's going. We're talking about people taking trips. They tend to do that when they think their lives are good. Nobody goes, hey, I'm unemployed. I just got thrown off Medicaid. Do you want to go to Vegas?
And pay $50 for a drink or $100 for a meal. I mean, it's extremely expensive to survive a couple nights in Las Vegas or in some of these big cities. Plus, you throw in the taxes. I mean, some of these beach towns, you got 13.5% sales tax on top of stuff. How are these big places like Vegas going to survive? I mean, they survive off tourism. And if people don't go, even though the stock market's high as it's ever been, we're in this lull. We're in this middle-class depression. Maybe that's what we rebrand this, middle-class depression. But for the rich people, they don't know the difference. But for the poor, they know it. They're not going out anymore.
I would find myself there every evening, every weekend. I wouldn't have a life. Yes, there may be some people who have made their fortunes in the food industry. I'm just saying it's one of the hardest ones.
50%.
There's certain businesses I always say stay away from. Number one, especially for me, I don't see myself ever getting involved in this type of business, is the food industry. You can speak to any restaurant owner. It is a graft. The margins are low. You have to stress about the quality being the same every single day. I wouldn't be able to step away from that.
Restaurants are a fool's game. The reason why you see restaurants, and I'm going to spitball this, things like McDonald's, Burger King's, franchises, they're holding the real estate. Buy the real estate, take the franchise, put it on top of the real estate. It pays for the real estate, but meanwhile you hold the land. Same thing with car washes, warehouses. And if you look what's really there in a car wash, Car wash can be removed fairly easy, and you still have the land. Same thing with warehouses. They're just a giant steel structure. You take it apart, knock it down, and you've got this expensive piece of real estate. They're never really meant to make money. Car washes are one of the biggest parts of portfolios. They usually will give you a 10% return. You bundle them all together. The real estate underneath it goes into the portfolio, and they sell that to a hedge fund or some rich guys, and they get that 10% return. And car washes are easy to maintain, and you get a good piece of property with it. And that's what's going on with this stuff. Not that the mom and pop go and start a restaurant and survive. The only thing I've really seen survive like that is a bakery. The Milton Bakery, been there forever. Print money. Yeah, so this right here is literally what I've been talking about, rebranding, repurposing, and trying to start something new with your product, but it's just the same old, same old. They run it till it goes into the ground and they start over again. And I think that's the game. This is just me spitballing. You put whatever on top of the property, you own the building, you make the business inside whatever you need to just pay for the building. And when that little business goes bankrupt, you wad it up, you throw it away, you start a new one, and it just keeps paying for the building. You get a new tenant in there, and restaurants will usually always be restaurants, warehouses will always be warehouses, because they just tool them for one thing. And then when they get a new tenant, it's got to be another restaurant, or it's got to be another warehouse, or it's got to be whatever that niche is. And that's what you're seeing here. These restaurants just keep reusing and recycling. And I think we're going to see the future of this. Whatever we're going through right now is people are hurting and they're not spending the money they were. I just came from Disney World, and many of the restaurants there were hollow too. Did a video on that. People don't believe it, but go out and look, and go into a restaurant at 12:30 and see how many people you were there. I was at the Asian Vietnamese restaurant a while ago, and it wasn't like it used to be standing outside where you had a line around the building. It was, extra spaces there. You didn't have to wait for a table anymore. And that was for something that's $12 a bowl, not $20 a bowl, $30 a bowl, plus tip. This was serve only, and you serve it and you go get your own water. I want to know your thoughts. Comments down below. Thought this one was interesting. I wanted to run it out there right quick that the restaurant industry is reshaping itself. People are just not going out anymore. But that's all I got, everybody. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Comment down below. If you're looking for a real estate agent anywhere in the country, my email's down below. I can help you find one. And if you're looking to buy real estate anywhere on the Gulf Coast, Florida, Alabama, I can personally help you. And I'll see you guys on the next one.